It appears inverter guru Mr. E, seen here, is not only selling Charlie Kirk's tragic death as some sort of Illuminati mind control stunt, but Mr. E is making a day of it and is also inverting body-shaming Charlie's grieving widow. What the hell, might as well, right? This is where Satanists congress to ritualistically invert and pervert, but they're just not any good at it, and each one is as obvious as a red dildo. Here we can see Erika Kirk's wide female hips, her 1-to-1 shoulder-to-hip width ratio, and we also observe Erika's short female arms, resting her palms at her crotch line. Very much a different story than speaking of Dildo's creepy old freak calling his pathetic self invisible one is painting while pushing some college medical degree bullshit.
No, that isn't correct, and you should take an actual anatomy class. It was one of my majors in college, so I am very familiar with the differential markers in male and female. The Adonis belt is an hip-to-shoulder ratio is a far better indicator. Her hip-to-shoulder ratio is male and she has an Adonis belt. Surgery can't hide those things.
But more on this loser in a bit. Let's start today's feature. The 2D to 4D ratio, the length of the index finger. 2D divided by the ring finger, 4D, is a powerful biological marker that offers a retrospective window into an individual's prenatal hormonal environment. This ratio is set before the end of the first trimester, guided by exposure to testosterone and estrogen in the womb, and remains constant throughout life. A lower ratio, where the ring finger is noticeably longer than the index, is a sign of higher prenatal androgen, testosterone exposure, a feature statistically more common in biological males. Conversely, a higher ratio, with the two fingers closer in length, or the index longer, points to lower prenatal testosterone exposure, and is a robust hallmark of female development. While not an absolute rule, the sexual dimorphism in this ratio is reliable enough that forensic scientists may use it as a ballpark when determining sex from skeletal remains, in the absence of more usable, more reliable and consistent skeletal structures like the skull, pelvis, or long bones. Think of the 2D to 4D ratio as a biological receipt, stamped before birth, that can't be altered by surgery, lifestyle, or even deliberate deception. Applying this fact to Marilyn Monroe's hands, visible in both stills and video, reveals a digit ratio falling solidly within the typical female range, entirely incompatible with a male prenatal hormonal environment. The photographic evidence irrefutably demonstrates that Marilyn Monroe's 2D to 4D ratio exhibits the higher value characteristic of female biology, thoroughly dismantling claims of a male phenotype or inversion. In short, the 2D to 4D ratio isn't just another myth or social media fad. It's a well-documented, unchanging marker grounded in biology, and it leaves the conspiracy narrative with nowhere to hide when it is confirmed and added to, and thus expands the stacked sex marker positive equation. Marilyn's lower head-to-shoulder width ratio is a result of sexual dimorphism, primarily driven by evolutionary adaptations related to childbirth. Females have evolved a narrower shoulder girdle, creating a distinct proportional difference. The female collarbones are shorter and the shoulder blades are shaped differently, leading to a narrower acromion, or shoulder point and glenoid shoulder socket compared to males. These differences result in females having a shoulder width that is closer to the width of their hips, while males tend to be wider in the shoulders. Here we can see Marilyn's smaller upper body relative to her considerably large pelvic area. Observe Marilyn's acute Q angle, resulting from her wider pelvis and shorter femur or thigh bone length. Here in this still, we can again observe Marilyn's female Q angle as well as her 1-to-1 shoulder-to-hip width ratio. If Marilyn Monroe were male, this distinctive S-shaped spinal curve would not be present. This pronounced S-curve is a uniquely evolved trait in females, developed to support upright walking during pregnancy. The sharply angled inward curve of the lower back shifts the center of gravity forward as pregnancy advances, helping to balance the growing weight of the baby over the pelvis. This adaptation enhances balance and stability during movement. Additionally, the upper spine's pronounced thoracic curvature contributes to optimal weight distribution, further maintaining balance while walking. Extending our analysis of Marilyn Monroe's spine, we now focus on her sacrum, a defining evolutionary feature in female anatomy. The female sacrum is broader than the male, engaging with wider ilia to form a larger pelvic basin. Crucially, the sacrum's unique shape and angle creates space within the pelvis, accommodating childbirth by expanding the birth canal during delivery. In X-ray views of male and female pelvises from above, it's clear how the posterior tilt of the female sacrum dramatically increases pelvic capacity compared to the compact male structure, which favors speed and protection. High-resolution images reveal how the male pelvis stands taller with medially angled femurs, resulting in a narrower frame. By contrast, the outward curve of the female sacrum and ilia provides a wider channel for childbirth. If the female pelvis lacked these unique adaptations, it simply couldn't safely accommodate the baby's head during birth. This would result in a much higher risk of dangerous complications, including cephalopelvic disproportion, where the baby cannot fit through the birth canal, endangering both mother and child. In evolutionary terms, the pelvis strikes a delicate balance. If it's too narrow, childbirth becomes life-threatening. If it's too wide, essential support for internal organs and efficient movement is compromised. This widened, concave sacrum and pelvic shape in females is absolutely critical for human survival, something every anatomist and obstetrician affirms. This female's android-type pelvis is very narrow, indicating a lower likelihood of vaginal birth compared to other pelvic shapes like this type gynecoid pelvis. Caesarean section, all part of God's plan. FYI, within the top 3 most common types of pelvis in Caucasian females is the unfortunate android type. That's right, all part of his divine design. The numbers shown here, 24%, is more like 32.5%, as reported in Anatomical Variations in the Female Pelvis, the Caldwell-Malloy Classification, Radiology, May 1947. Light passes through the female ilium more readily, highlighting differences in bone density. Examining Marilyn's bone structure in ideal lighting reveals the pronounced convexity and backward tilt of her sacrum, an adaptation that safely accommodates the baby's passage. In motion, her hourglass shape, narrow waist, and gently sloping hips reflect a low center of gravity, a direct result of wider hips and outward-angled femurs. This not only aids balance as fetal weight shifts, but enhances her iconic silhouette and graceful posture. Notice the pronounced brow ridge and sharply angled forehead of the male compared to Marilyn's softly sloped frontal bone. Trace the blue and pink outlines. Her mid-face is shorter, with less projection of the nasal bridge and maxilla, while the male jaw juts forward in a characteristic wedge. The stark and glaring difference here is the height of the male's frontal bone, proving both an overall larger and more robust skull as well as a larger brain, consistent with human male-female brain size and weight studies. It's not difficult to understand or accept unless you're an inverter. Speaking of which, this loser calling his old pathetic self Invisible One, whose connotations of anonymity are precluded by the fact that he smells like number 2. He's likely invisible only in the sense that people around him just ignore him by default. This clown, Invisible One, who likes to sit in Big Shitter Mr. E's lap, wants people to believe he went to college and one of his majors was anatomy, yet he doesn't have the first clue about anatomy. Tries to get everyone to believe that former Prime Minister of New Zealand Jacinda Ardern's dress hem was a massive dick swinging through the halls in full view of the cameras. Yeah, we can tell Invisible One is a real college whiz and biology major, and not just another raging kook on the internet. This comment is a textbook demonstration of how Invisible One will literally warp facts, and even language itself, to craft a fear-mongering narrative. By altering Leonardo DiCaprio's name to DiCarpio, and then asserting Carpio means goat in Italian, he invents occult connections where none exist. Being Italian, the good folks at our Cola channel can tell you first that Carpio is a type of fish, while capra in Italian means goat. Carpio does not. So, like a bad liar, Invisible One couldn't even get his occult spell weaving correct, despite taking the time to make edits. But fortunately, the paranoid kooks in the echo chamber's poor observational skills and inability to think will be replaced by confirmation bias anyway, so they won't even notice. It's just one mind-numbingly stupid thing after another with this character Invisible One.
Gisele is also a tranny. Notice anything suspicious in this picture. Notice the difference between the tranny on the left and the real woman on the right. That's so obvious. Gisele's arms as long as her sister's and knees like 6 inches taller. Just that alone. Never mind the Adonis belt, the tiny hips, long torso and all. Gisele Bundchen is a man.
If Gisele were a man, like Invisible One fantasizes, then how is it that Gisele and the real woman on the right have identical sized skulls? This skull size comparison is also confirmed here. And how is it that Gisele has a smaller skull than this shorter male here? If this character Invisible One had a degree in anatomy as he claims, he would know the first thing about skull morphology between the sexes and wouldn't sound like a raving lunatic. We can clearly observe Gisele's deep, lordotic curvature in her spine, which is a part of the female anatomy to redistribute the fetus's weight anterior of the pelvis to facilitate bipedal pregnancy. We can also see Gisele's 1-to-1 shoulder-to-hip ratio, proving female hip structure. But since Invisible One is a Satanist inverter creep who already yapped out of his ass that Gisele is a man, he'll have no choice but to gobble his liar supplements like,
Nuh-uh. Instant, effortless rebuttal. Facts a problem? Just say, nuh-uh. Combined seamlessly with Deflect All, You Deny All, and Know It All for extra resilience against unwanted truths and peer review. Shop now in the description while donating via Patreon. Also, buy your year's supply of Dunning-Kruger Etamine, a mountain of confidence in just one tablet. Just use code ONEBORN every minute and get 5% off. But act now, and also receive a lifetime supply of ibuprofen, a potent reality enhancer to be used in conjunction with our quality reality blocker, Nuh-uh, which contains 500 milligrams of acetaminophen. But that's not all. Act now and also receive a limited promotion sample of Miracle Supplement Spudyl Delusionate to help you in the fight against the Illuminati. Floor them, back them up against the wall, and banish the shill to the endless night from whence they came. With new Spudyl Delusionate, the Gish Gallop Enhancer. Warning: do not take with laxatives. Buy now and receive as a gift the newest in EMI blocking, the Faradayan Night Irony Maskin Matching Beanie Cap, which will block unwanted directed energy weapons, chemtrail-borne satanic nano-dust bots, and other mind control weapons, up to and including 5G. So act now.
We just know you'll come back for more, bitches.